Larry, thanks for joining us this morning.
As always, thank you.
Good
Well,
morning, Larry.
what an odd place we find ourselves in this Republican nomination process. What did you make of that performance Saturday night?
I thought it was I thought it was just difficult, too much yelling, too much anger. Some issues came out. I actually thought Trump, I wouldn't have said what he said, okay? I don't agree with him on that, what you just played. But, you know, he made some important points elsewhere. I mean, he made it very clear that he's running against these Republican establishment. He made it very, very clear. And I thought he had a pretty good pro-growth tax-cutting message as well. Now, look, if all these guys are going to go after him, which they did, he's going to fight back. It didn't look great for anybody, if you ask me. It didn't look great for anybody. So I don't know what to make of it. It's something in the air. I'm not sure that particular debate is going to have much impact.
Do you see a scenario where, at this point, Donald Trump is not the nominee?
Oh, it's possible. Goodness gracious, we're only in the third.
I've heard people who I respect who have come on this program and said, Jake Tapper, for example, I don't see how he's not the nominee, and I'm beginning to wonder if he does very well in South Carolina, as he is expected to do. How does he not become the nominee?
Well, if he wins South Carolina, and the polls, for what that's worth, suggest he will. It's a big if, though. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I think he will be in a commanding position. I think Jake Tapper is right, and he's going to have great strength rolling right through. I mean, this SEC states and Florida and so forth. I actually think Trump's going to have a lot of strength up in the Midwest. I know John Kasich, who I think had a pretty good debate, too. Kasich thinks he'll do well in Michigan and Ohio, and he should win Ohio. But, you got to remember, Donald Trump's message is a message that's like, I want to change the Republican Party. I heard that when I interviewed him a week ago in Manchester, New Hampshire. I want to change the Republican Party. I don't want big pharma. I don't want big insurance. I don't want big oil and so forth to dominate Republican Party. I don't want favors. I don't want cronyism. I don't want corporate welfare. And on top of that, he says, I'm going to slash your taxes. I'm going to slash your individual taxes and your personal taxes. I mean, he has a top tax rate of 25%. People don't give him much talk about that. He has a corporate tax rate of 15%. That's the lowest of anybody. And so I think his message is positive and pro-growth on that side. But on the GOP side, he's saying this is a rusty old party that hasn't delivered at the presidential level, and I'm running against it. And I think he got that message out, by the way, at that raucous debate. Now, if you're a Democrat or you're an independent, Democrat-leaning independent, you're going to say, well, yeah, this guy who obviously has leadership and strength, he doesn't like the Republicans much more than I do. And I think that's going to really help Trump.
Yeah, but with this Bush lied about WMD thing, he's asking Republican voters to change their thinking and reverse what they've believed for the last 17 years since the war. And actually, with his views on tariffs and trade policy, he's asking us to go back 35 years on what a fundamental core understanding of economic principles have been. I'd love for your take on that, Larry Kudlow. He wants to raise tariffs, which you and I, citizens, will have to make up that tariff increase through increased price for services and goods.
Yes, I don't favor tariffs. I don't. And I've talked to him about that. But, again, when I spoke to him a week ago up in New Hampshire, his argument was actually different than the one you're making. He isn't saying, I am going to raise China tariffs. He's saying, I'm going to bring all my weapons to the table when I negotiate with them. And it's not clear whether it's a tariff, or currency, or...
Set aside China for a moment. He's talking about Mexico. We have a trade agreement with Mexico. There's no negotiating. NAFTA is there, and he says he's going to start raising tariffs if automobiles are manufactured down there.
Well, he's going to have trouble doing that because of the agreements. China, by the way, I don't want to defend China. China's a bad actor. China lies, cheats, and steals. They steal our intellectual property rights. They counterfeit our goods. They break trading agreements left and right. They're also our enemy when it comes to foreign policy. They're engaged, if you know, with a $600 billion deal with Iran right now, $600 billion deal with Iran to provide them with arms and various other supplies. So what Trump is saying, and again, I don't like the tariff route, he's saying nonetheless, I'm going to stand up to China and make a better deal. And he is the author of The Art of the Deal. Now, I admit there's ambiguity there. There's some overtones that I don't like. I'm not a tariff guy. I'm a free trade guy. But nonetheless, he's standing up to China. Nobody else will.
Yeah.
And I think that helps him, not hurts him.
Larry, we got to leave it there, but it's always good to check in with you on these
Thanks,
things
Larry.
every Tuesday. And again, he's the host of The Larry Kudlow Show every Saturday at 7 p.m. here on WMAL.